Hey sir, you look dehydrated. You want some water, sir? You just got pranked, bitch!
Rum is a distilled alcoholic beverage made from sugarcane byproducts such as molasses or honeys, or directly from sugarcane juice by a process of fermentation and distillation. The distillate, a clear liquid, is then usually aged in oak barrels. Rum production begins with sugarcane. To this day, mature sugarcane is harvested by hand, grueling machine work, in many parts of the world. The cut cane is promptly transported to the mill where it is crushed in a machine. The crushing extracts the sugarcane juice from the fibrous pulp. The crushed pulp waste is burned to generate power to crush the cane and sometimes to heat a distillation column. Now that you have the sugarcane juice, 3 different things can happen. 1. You can proceed directly to fermenting and distilling the sugarcane juice. This is what they do in the French West Indies, Martinique and Guadeloupe. Understandably, this most direct approach yields rum that most closely preserves the vegetal characteristics of the cane. 2. You can cook down and concentrate the sugarcane juice into a syrup. This syrup is itself a stable sweetening product, but the syrup can also be fermented and distilled. A few distilleries work with fermented syrup because it gives them most of the characteristics of sugarcane juice that they are looking for, while enabling them to distill all year, not just at the harvest. 3. You can process the juice into molasses and crystallized sugar. The crystallized sugar is sold as sweetening product and the molasses is sold to a distillery to be fermented and distilled into rum. Most rum is distilled from fermented molasses. Now the fermentation starts. There are many different ways of fermenting the sugar. For example, in a laboratory where you control the fermentation, or another way would be a more natural way where the yeast in the environment take care of the fermentation. The time for ferments differ based on the chosen fermentation process. Afterwards, the ferments have to be distilled. Here we also have many different ways, despite the process of distilling actually is very simple. But the heating of the ferments and recondensing of the alcohol that emerged in reality is impossible to do without affecting the product in any way. That is why distillation is a science and success depends on a great deal of expertise, but craftiness, habit, mother nature, superstition, and luck all play a role. What happens next greatly varies depending on the product the distillery is aiming for. Some rums, particularly for local Caribbean markets, are simply bottled and sold fresh from the still. Most rum is aged, which radically alters the character of the spirit. Almost all rum is blended with other batches from the same distillery, often marrying rums of different ages. Some rum gets infused with herbs, fruits and spices, or deliberately blended with juices or extracts to produce a flavored rum product. Most rum is diluted with water at some point prior to the bottling to 40 or 50% alcohol by volume. These variables make rum the most varied of all the distilled spirits. Significance: the world drank 1.3 billion liters of rum in 2016. The top 5 rum markets are India, USA, Philippines, France and the United Kingdom. In per capita terms, the top rum markets are Dominican Republic, Philippines, Canada, USA and France.
The rum global value chain. The rum global value chain involves several activities from farms to distilleries and retail locations. The chain begins with production of sugarcane, which is harvested and processed into sugar, creating the byproduct of molasses. Rum manufacturing occurs in distilleries using a variety of production methods and inputs. Once manufactured, the rum is then either placed in oak barrels for aging or immediately packed for sale. The Caribbean is the main production region for rum. Drawing on the availability of sugarcane byproducts and its long history of production, the Caribbean is regarded as the true birthplace of rum. Over the last decade, global rum exports steadily increased from $1 billion in 2006 to over $1.4 billion in 2015. Molasses exports also increased, but exports fluctuated between 2006 and 2015. Top importers for molasses reflect the varied uses of the product. Meanwhile, the leading importers of rum highlight the dominance of developed nations as end markets for global spirits. However, many emerging economies are also increasing imports of spirits, reflecting the further globalization for the industry. Barbados in the rum global value chain. Rum represents an important agricultural product for Barbados, both economically and socially. The island has a long history in the industry, and sugarcane, the key input in rum, is seen as a necessary crop to maintain the soil quality on the island and prevent erosion. To maintain the rum industry, however, Barbados must revitalize the domestic sugarcane sector and invest in the development of a national brand to facilitate growth in premium rums. The most prominent advantages Barbados have include: Number 1. Historical legacy and association with rum. Barbados is the birthplace of rum and the home of the oldest distillery in the world. Number 2. Established global presence of national brands. Many rum brands from Barbados are recognized globally. For example, Mount Gay, or the rum named Malibu, who is well known for its coconut flavoring. Number 3. Barbados is well situated for sugarcane production because of its climate. Sugarcane is an important economic, environmental, and social crop for Barbados. To capitalize on these advantages, Barbados needs to address several constraints both in the production of sugarcane and in the development of a national brand that consumers recognize. Policy interventions are needed to address the following challenges. Number 1. The decline of bulk sugar production in the country threatens molasses supply. Sugarcane production has declined steadily as global prices drop and international trade has become increasingly liberalized. Even with the government taking control of the failing sugarcane farms, the nation continues to struggle to revitalize the industry. Number 2. Actors in the rum global value chain are disconnected. In Barbados, sugarcane producers are not connected to the rum industry. The only point of contact occurs via the sugarcane processing plant in Port Vale that serves as the sole buyer of domestic sugarcane and a small supplier of molasses to the island. Number 3. No clear strategy for growth. Strategies are not unified. Rum producers' strategies involve branding around the rum as a Barbados product without the ability to source inputs from the nation. Simultaneously, sugarcane producers seek to diversify production to higher value varieties. This includes a shift from bulk production to the processing for small volume specialty retail. Global supply. Global exports of rum increased 37.5% between 2006 and 2015, peaking in 2013 with over $1.63 billion in exports. The major suppliers of global rum are highly concentrated in the Caribbean, Central America, and Latin America. Together, the top 10 accounted for 61.5% of total exports. The US remained the top exporter for all years due to large-scale production of Bacardi rum in Puerto Rico. New rum producers began to manufacture rum, and these producers come from Central America. Examples are Guatemala, who have a 766% growth over one decade. Another non-traditional exporter such as Guyana followed a similar pattern with 94%, or Nicaragua with 150% growth. Global demand. Global demand for rum is led by developed countries. Imports are concentrated in North America and Europe, led by Germany, Spain, and the US. Between 2006 and 2013, rum imports decreased nearly 53%. This figure highlights the current position of Barbados in the rum global value chain with red rectangles. Industry actors are mostly disconnected. Only one rum producer is vertically integrated, while another uses cane produced from their farms only for selected brands of rum. Within Barbados, the majority of the molasses needed for rum manufacturing is imported.
The Caribbean Rum Sector Program. In 2002, the European Union approved a program to support Caribbean producers by reducing their dependence on commodity bulk exports. Plant upgrading and marketing support was undertaken to improve competitiveness and support moves towards higher value branded products. The program provided co-financing for upgrading projects, technical expertise and specialized services to the Caribbean rum industry. Completed in June 2010, the Caribbean Rum Sector Program led to the introduction of 18 new brands and 39 brand variants to the European Union market. Participating companies maintaining employment at 6,000 people. A 20% increase in direct female employment in the sector since 2003. The undertaking of 20 waste treatment projects by 15 companies in 12 countries. The undertaking of 11 energy and conservation projects in 8 countries, a 40% increase in tax revenues received from participating producers since 2003, a 140% increase in the number of tourists visiting rum facilities since 2003, companies in the region investing approximately 68 million euros in capital projects. In 2012, a second project was launched with the overall objective of building long-term viability of the Caribbean rum sector in an international market as a significant source of employment. Barbados is benefiting from these programs to move towards premiumization. The shift towards premium rums is part of a larger trend to capitalize on the historical association of Barbados as the birthplace of rum and to promote the provenance of the island in rum manufacturing. Lessons for Barbados upgrading from global experiences. While Barbados has experienced considerable success in the global value chain and global demand remains strong, it will need to undertake upgrading to remain competitive in the face of rising premiumization and upgrading in countries such as Guatemala or Dominican Republic. By adopting improved technologies, generating a new product or engaging in an entirely fresh set of activities, upgrading can also allow actors to capture greater value from their participation in the global value chains.
Now I know everything about rum, but I'm still dying of thirst. Well,
Hey sir, I heard you wanted rum the whole time. I had rum the whole time at my back. You want some? You just got bring